What's Crack-A-Lackin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome in, guys, to another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. What's Crack-A-Lackin? Week 12 is on the verge here. We got Monday Night Football tonight. We will be live at 7 p.m. Eastern before the show for an hour, recapping all the calls from Week 11, looking where we were right, where we were wrong, talking Monday Night Football here. So if you guys aren't going to make the live show, you can drop any questions you have in there. I'm trying to pump out content early here because last week I fell behind, and I didn't even get this video to you guys. So these are going to be my top 10 stash plays where if you have a free roster spot or you have an IR spot, you should be picking these players up. Because that's the key thing in fantasy football. If you stand pat, you're always going to fall behind. You need to be making moves. You need to be looking ahead for the next player that's going to break out. You need to be looking for trade assets that you can possibly move as well to package into things as the season comes close here. We're almost to the playoffs, guys. So it is time to lock in. And there is some very, very sneaky value that I know 100% is sitting on your waiver wire. And we're going to look at it right here in a second. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. Again, I'll be live at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight before the Monday Night Football game. Me and Big Draft Energy will cover everything we talked about Week 11, our hits, our misses. We'll look at pick 'em props tonight as well for the game tonight. And then if you guys haven't checked out drafters.com, the sponsor, or the guys FF Discord, make sure you do both. Those links will be pinned in the comment and in the description of the video. Now let's dive into my top 10 stashes right now. So actually, I forgot to say this. So we have the waiver wire coming too. So your players are locked. So this is a good time for this stash video. Actually, I didn't even think about it until right now that I brought it up. So if you have, players on your bench that you want to ask in the comments, if you should keep them on your bench for these players, make sure you drop those comments in there as well. And I'll let you know because I really like these players going forward. Now let's take a look. Starting off with number 1, and I know if you play in competitive leagues that Joe Burrow is most likely not available, but I do have to cover all the bases for all the fantasy football leagues. And when I look at Yahoo alone, just Yahoo's percentage of owned for Joe Burrow, he's only owned in 75% of leagues. That's millions and millions of people, meaning 25% he is still out there. Go pick this man up. They just updated today that 11-on-11 practice week is coming here. And I think they're going to throw him out there, even if they're 3-8. They want to fight for this season. Still, the possibility, the chances are never over. I know they're going to have a very tough schedule down the stretch as well. You're going to get Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, Arizona, Cleveland. So the last 3 should be wins they can get, but these next 3 are going to be very tough. But Jamar Chase can be suspended for this game too. Just got updated for that for spitting on Jalen Ramsey there at the time, and Ramsey got ejected for the game, which was crazy. So. And the refs, I guess, it's always the second guy that gets caught. It's literally a true story here. But it's Joe Burrow. So if you get a chance, and this guy's on your waiver wire, and again, this is for I got to cover all bases for all leagues here. Go pick up Joe Burrow. This is your IR stash. Could he be trying to trend to play early this week as well with the 11-on-11 update? For sure he could. You know that he changes the Bengals offense to absolutely rocket ships once he gets back out there. You're getting a QB1 off the wire for free right here. So when you're looking at all his stats here, he only played 1 game, and then he got hurt at the beginning of game 2. I think it was like the second or third drive he went down. So coming back here, I know if they throw him out there at 3-8, it's dangerous for the the career, or not the career, but the next season coming 2026. But if I have a chance to get Joe Burrow for free, you are smashing this right now. And if you play in cupcake leagues, go do this right now, and then you could even possibly trade asset for him to tear up somewhere else. That's how big of a name he is. Go get Burrow. Number 2, quarterback number 2 as well, and the last stash quarterback I have, it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. And I know right now on Twitter, everyone is bashing him for the game he had, and Shedeur Sanders throwing the ugly interception and missing guys. Dude, that was like his first game thrown to the wolves. Like, where's this hate for J.J. McCarthy, who's been playing absolutely terrible for 5 or 6 games straight now and has had a year under the belt of tutelage by NFL coaches? Why is Shedeur Sanders just getting ravaged by everyone, which is crazy? It's like the league just wants him to fail. It makes no sense to me. So when you're going to this game here next week, you're going to get the Las Vegas Raiders, and you got to forget, throw out the window. Are you just going to forget what this guy did in college? Like the best completion percentage of all time, and he was in the Big 12. He had 64 career touchdowns in 2 years. Absolutely phenomenal quarterback. Just got thrown to the wolves against the Baltimore Ravens in a division game in a freezing cold tundra with winds. And they were sending the house blitz package at him. It wasn't even Like, dude, he didn't know what was going to hit him. So, and he wasn't even ready to come in the game. He didn't know that Dylan Gabe was going to concussion. So we got to pump the brakes on the Shedeur Sanders hate here because this man could be something special. And I really do think what I watched in college football, it's going to translate. And it makes no sense to be how J.J. McCarthy was the top 10 pick and Shedeur Sanders isn't if you look at the Michigan numbers compared to Colorado. Make that make sense. So, yeah, he's probably on your waiver wire. It's not sexy right now. But, dude, imagine we're sitting back here in this conversation week 12 and Shedeur Sanders goes nuclear against the Las Vegas Raiders with a week of practice under, ready to be the starter. He's named the starter. Get ready, man. I'm telling you. Stop the hate for one half of his first half of his NFL career, his first game. Come on, guys. Shedeur Sanders, let's give it some time here and let's stash this guy and see what happens. Player number 3, heading over to the running back side. And remember, guys, again, these are just roster stashes if you have open spots. So don't be like, oh, my God, Cowboys play tonight. Should I be throwing out Jadon Blue or Phil Maffa? No. So Phil Maffa's your rookie from Clemson that I'm going to say that I want to stash over Jadon Blue. Because we know the size differential. We know that Jadon Blue is a smaller back, and we know that Phil Maffa is built like a brick shithouse. It's 6 foot, 235 out of Clemson. And he also put up 1,000 yards at Clemson at the time. And he's been injured since the preseason on IR. He's supposed to come back week 5. It's been a longer rehab for him. I believe it was the shoulder. I don't remember what it was. But we're going to be looking at a situation here. And I know that you have Javonte Williams. And I know Javonte Williams has been playing lights out. But if I have Javonte Williams, I also know that he did have that major knee injury in 2022. He missed a couple games in 2023. He missed a couple games in 2024. It's 2025. His usage is through the roof right now. He's one of the best value picks in fantasy football you could have got. So you have to think about your handcuff situation or stash situation to possibly trade for that person that owns Javonte Williams as well. So when you're looking at Phil Maffa, if you have an IR spot right now, he's not even activated on IR. You can pick him up on IR. I know Jadon Blue will probably be the running back 2 tonight. They said he'd get some more work. We'll see how that goes. If the Cowboys blow out the Raiders, he might. But I'm looking at if Javonte Williams goes down, who are they really going to give the job to, right? Is it going to be a 6'3" or a 6 foot 235 guy? Or is it going to be the little speedster out of Texas that's 5'9", 196 dripping wet, right? They're probably going to want the power back. So that's why I'm leaning if you want to stash one of these two. I'm okay with either one, by the way. I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think the bigger running back would get the nod in the situation. So I'm going to be stashing Maffa. If you want to stash Jadon Blue, that is fine. I like both. But that's how I think it would play out. And I think it's a very, very good roster stash because I think he's going to be activated off IR here next week. And I honestly think Javonte Williams is seeing too many touches to stay healthy at this point, man. It's crazy. Player number 4, running back number 2, you should be stashing, especially if you have Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco. I just truly believe that the Kansas City Chiefs have to unleash their SMU rookie here at some point. They said that he was going to get more work last week. Obviously, that was not the case. Obviously, they fell behind in the game and had to lean on their veterans more. And Kareem Hunt, punched the only touchdown for the Chiefs in the game. And I know he had, 10 for 59 or 13 for 59. He had good yards per carry as well, or yards per carry against the Denver Broncos as well, too, here. But this man's 30 years old. And Isaiah Pacheco, we knew coming into the year that he was coming off major injury and that the re-injury risk was absolutely high. And we're in the same spot right now. We'd have no idea if he's even going to be back this season or how it's going to work if he comes back. His re-injury risk is probably 99%, right? So this is your game-changing speed running back that Andy Reid is, I don't know if he's holding to unleash. The Chiefs are 5-5. They need to do something now, right? I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got all the weapons, you got Travis Kelce on his last dance, maybe one more year. I don't know how it goes with him. The time to get explosive is now, and I don't know what they are waiting for. So when you look at all Rashard Smith's numbers, this is very limited snaps, very limited work. This is why it is a stash play. And you got to think down the stretch here, they're going to need an explosive play. Kareem Hunt, is going to give you some rumble bumble, 10 yards running people over. That's fine. He can give you, 15 carries, 50 yards in a red zone touchdown. And he's probably going to get all the red zone work for the rest of the season unless he gets hurt. We know that. Now, Isaiah Pacheco makes his back in. Do we trust him? No, I do not. So this is why I'm willing to take a running back stash on one of the highest powered offenses in the NFL. And they're fighting for their life right now. This is why Rashard Smith, to me, is a very, very good stash. And if you have a spot open, you should be picking him up as well. Player number 5, running back number 3, you should be stashing is the Kansas rookie Devin Neal for the New Orleans Saints. Now, we know that Kendre Miller went down with another injury. This guy has just been hurt since the TCU days. I felt so bad, man. I really liked his game coming out. and he just can't stay healthy. He's like a Christian Watson type, even though Watson's balling right now. So what you got to look at here is, yeah, the Saints season is over. They've turned it to Tyler Shuck. And I know Alvin Kamara looked good last week, and he saw 22 touches and 83 yards. And if he didn't get traded, he'd be sipping pina coladas and he'd just retire. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't try and trade him as a franchise for the Saints. Honestly, they're just a lost ran franchise in my opinion. But isn't it time to see, moving down the stretch here, when they're 3-10, 3-11, 4-10, 4-11, whatever they're going to be, that they may unleash their rookie here? So this is definitely a high possibility and a high priority, and someone that I've been stashing in tons of leagues, especially like, if I'm in a deep redraft 16, 14 man league, because he's probably on your waiver right now. They're coming off a bye. It's probably a free pickup. So the opportunity is going to be there. He has seen his snap share increase, since week 7. He started to see some work. He wasn't playing at all till week 7. So 13%, 46%, 39%, 35%. Saw 7 touches last week. That was his most. Hasn't done much with it. Obviously, the Saints offense isn't great, but he's a great pass catching back in college. Has great tape if you put on his college tape. So if you have a chance and you can hold an open spot again, just pick up Devin Neal, because the opportunity, I truly believe, is going to be there down the stretch here. They're not going to use Alvin Kamara at age freaking 31, or what is he going to be, 31 here in a couple months, moving down the stretch. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. If they do, they do. And if I miss on it, I miss on it, but it's a chance I'm willing to take on Devin Neal. Player number 6, running back number 4. And this one is going to be sketch, and it's going to be free as well. This is just a stash play once again. And it's going to be Caleb Johnson. Yes, I'm an Iowa fan. Yes, it's a little bias on my side because I want to see him get a goddamn chance, because I think he's better than Kenneth Gainwell. Obviously, Jalen Warren's had a great year, and he's looked good, and I thought Caleb would be the starting running back over him. Shout out Big Draft Energy. He nailed that one. I definitely missed that. But the situation just got a little interesting here. So we just had Jalen Warren go down in the game. He tried to come back in the game, played 1 snap, re-hurt it again, came back out of the game. We don't know what his status is going to be. We know that once you have an injury, the chance of re-injury is very, very probable the next game you go out there. So if he's out there again, it's going to be very scary. And what if something happens, right? Kenneth Gainwell, the backup running back, went absolutely nuclear last week for 27 fantasy points in his spot, catching that pass to close out the Bengals at the end, right, with Mason Rudolph. But we also know that he's 5'9", 200. We know we're getting into the winter is coming, Game of Thrones reference, big boy, bully ball running back time. This is where Caleb Johnson would shine for the Pittsburgh Steelers right here. This man is 6'1", 225. That's your big boy between the tackle running back. And he looked good on that scamper outside where he got the 15-yard run called back. Showed a little life. I know he's been in the doghouse since the kick return and everything that went on earlier in the season. But there's too much talent here. And it's just, now's the time. If you, again, this is a stash play. You're not starting this guy by any means. He hasn't played over freaking 20% of snaps all year long. He played 21% in week 4. And that's when he had his, kickoff return debacle, and he got benched in the doghouse. So this is again, he played 8, 1, 2, 5 carries. So you saw 1 carry, 2 carry, 5 carries. He's getting a little more work. Jalen Warren went down. What if Warren misses? What if Warren re-injures and gets, a worse injury? Prayers up not for that. But these are the things you have to think about. So if I have an open bench spot and I'm running back needy, I'm definitely stashing Caleb Johnson. Player number 7, heading over to the wide receiver side. And you guys can't hear it enough from me, man. You heard it probably on the waiver wire video as well. And you got to look at it like this. I want to pull this up as we're going here. Let me pull up my other PC here. Adonai Mitchell is still owned in 2% of leagues. This guy is available everywhere. This is a monster stash, not just a stash like running backs like Caleb Johnson and backup running backs begging for injury. This is a stash that is your wide receiver 1 for the rest of the year. We don't know if Garrett Wilson's coming back. Yeah, they've said they expect him to return. But come on, that'll be 4 weeks from now, which you're looking at week 16. You're looking at a ramp up for him probably. Not going to be out there at full wide receiver 1 for the last 3 games there. They're not going to throw their superstar out there to possibly get hurt again. And they're the Jets, so that definitely could happen. Let me change that. But you got to look at, and I swear, just go watch any tape from Texas. Go watch what he did to Christian Gonzalez last week. Yes, he had some drops over the shoulder. He's getting draped on. That one doesn't count. To me, it doesn't count. The one where he turned and missed it across the middle, big 3rd down conversion they could have had, that one counts as a drop. It was also a bullet that was thrown at him. He's also been in New York for 10 days. I mean, learning a whole new system. Yeah, I get that, still dropping doesn't do the system. That's fine. But this man is electric. I'm telling you, he had a 33% separation rate against the best corner, or one of the top 5 corners. You could say top 3 if you wanted in football. He toasted him. He is one of my favorite players. He had a 9.99 RAS score coming out of Texas. Watch his Texas tape, man. He was absolutely unbelievable. And I think they got an absolute steal here. I know that he made that one, mistake for the Colts where he dropped the ball at the end zone like an idiot. That's fine. That doesn't change talent. That was just a boneheaded play. So you're looking at a guy that saw 6 targets and 49% snap share. 49%. This is why I like Garrett Wilson, who's playing at like 97% snaps. He was getting 12 to 15 targets. That's the realm Adonai Mitchell is going to be in. And Tyrod Taylor was just named the starter. The Justin Fields passing days are over. This is going to help Adonai even more. I love this stash. I love this pickup. I love him even possibly as a flex play moving forward here, depending on how the snap share works out. Player number 8, and it's time. It's time if you have an IR spot. It's time if you have an open bench spot. It is time to look at Jayden Reed, who has been working off on the side recently, according to the updates. Going to be back week 13, according to the updates. You might get a ramp-up game or two, and then you get ready for the playoff stretch, and you have Chicago, Baltimore, Minnesota, which is going to be a nice flex play opportunity with a high ceiling with Jayden Reed. So when you look at these stats that he has, 38% snaps in week 1, got a touchdown, 13.5, and then he got hurt and the season was over. Or that, he got double injury. I think he went down with as well. He was already a banged up shoulder, and his foot got messed up, so he did double surgery to get them both done. And he's going to be back week 13. You just had the Packers get a win. Yes, the wide receiver room is going to be a nightmare. You're still going to have Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs keeps getting banged up every single game. Matthew Golden, Jayden Reed. Obviously, Matthew Golden is not better than Jayden Reed at the Jayden Reed role of what you've seen so far this season. And Tucker Kraft is down the middle of the field. This could be a Jayden Reed time here. And now Josh Jacobs is down. And we don't have the update on his injury. It says not season ending, but that still scares me for like 2 to 4 weeks. So we get him back week 13, which is after next week. You might have a splash play, big time wide receiver available on your waiver right now that you could hold on an IR spot. And also the way I look at it is not just that. This is also a big trade value piece if something happens and he pops. This guy was a top 5 wide receiver to start the season for like the first 5 weeks last week. He has the connection with Jordan Love. He's trusted by Jordan Love. Very, very good pickup that's going to be free available off your waiver wires in most leagues right now. And actually, I need to look these up while we're going live because we're just flying through it here. He's only owned in 35% of leagues. Smash the pickup for free right now. Player number 9. Oh, if you guys have been subscribed and you've seen me all year, Luther Burden is my guy. Let him loose. And we got some light at the end of the tunnel last week, finally. So week 11, rookies are usually unleashed late. It makes sense, especially when you have Roma Dunze, DJ Moore. I get all of that. But Olamide Zaccheaus, what happened last week? He went down to 13% snap share. Luther Burden went up to 44% snap share, played way more routes, played way more as the wide receiver 3, and looks so good with the eye test. It is just bonkers. And you also got to think that DJ Moore has been playing with a banged up shoulder, banged up hip, and he's been missing practice here and then. He's older. I know the Bears are winning the division now, and they're, playoff aspirations on the line here. But, man, this is like the Ollie Gordon of college, right? So Luther Burden, if he'd have came out a year before, he'd have been a top 5 pick. Ollie Gordon, if he'd have came out a year before, Doak Walker Award, he won everything. He'd have been like a top 20 or 15 pick. Running backs probably a little, later than elite wide receivers. And Burden is elite, man. 6 foot, 210. This guy can fly. I promise you, one of the best route runners. One of my favorite wide receivers coming out. And he just landed in a bad situation. And that situation is changing. And if you know Ben Johnson, he's going to let his rookies develop and then utilize the weapons that he drafted. And you're seeing that with Colston Loveland over the past couple of weeks. And you're about to start seeing it with Luther Burden. And he's only owned in 8% of leagues. And he is special, man. It's just, I wish he was just like the wide receiver 1 so you can see how good this guy is. But I am stashing this guy everywhere. Last but not least, the one tight end I'm going to put on here, and yeah, you could put like the rookies and the low-end tight ends like Mason Taylor if you want to stash them as well, especially with Tyrod Taylor becoming quarterback. That's fine. But this is my highest value stash tight end that I think is really going to be phenomenal down the stretch here, and people have kind of forgotten about him. And he's going to be free because he's on a bye this week. People aren't even going to think about picking up Darren Waller. It's not going to pop up at the top of their screen. None of that's going to happen. It's not on trend. It's not on anything like that because the IR update hasn't been released yet. But you also got to think Waller is on a 4-week IR stint. It just ended. Now you have a bye week, and then you're going to get New Orleans, the Jets, Pittsburgh, Cincy, Tampa Bay, New England. Darren Waller is going to be the second option. He's going to be the number one option in the red zone, as he was when he was out there. He's the only 6'6" guy they have. Everyone else is under 6 feet besides Nick Westbrook-Ikine, and he's not that great. We've seen what he could do. So Waller had 4 touchdowns in 3 games before the injury. You're about to get a Miami Dolphins team who's fighting here. Their season is not over, and people think it's like they just wrote it off and they're done. They're about to come off the bye and get the Saints and the Jets. They could be 6-7 rolling into week 15 versus Pittsburgh with a chance to win that game to go to 500. So it is not completely over for the Miami Dolphins yet, and Darren Waller is definitely someone I am stashing on my IR 100% if I need a tight end, because look at the games he gave you. He gave you 19 points, 20 points in his first 2 games, and he hadn't even played football in 2 years. He'd been out there like a rap god. So I love this stash play. I love this pickup. I think it's one of the sneakiest plays in fantasy football, and you should be making it right now. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the top 10 stash video. Every single position, a couple sneaky ones that I like there that are IR plays that can be really, really nice moving forward as well. And my next videos are going to be tomorrow. We're going to dive into all my smash starts, and I'm going to go for all my startums, sit-ems tomorrow. We're going to try and crank out a ton. And then Wednesday, we'll get into the rankings, and then Thursday, the live shows. And we'll look at our last trade deadline moves, because November 22nd should be the average league, redraft trade deadline. Your league could obviously be different. Every league setting is different. I know that, but it's coming either way for either this week or next week. It shouldn't be any longer than that with your league trade deadline. So very, very important stuff there, guys. Again, if you have any questions, comments, drop them down below. If you guys haven't already, tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. Again, I'll be live tonight. We'll be recapping week 11 and looking into Monday Night Football. And then, of course, the sponsors and our Discord, both those links are pinned in the comment and the description of the video. That's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Sleazebomb out. I hope to see you guys in the live show with Big Draft Energy.